Today I am with Dan Burstein, the artist who owns New Hope Stained Glass, and he knows Carl. And so I wanted to talk to him about his experience with glass and his friendship with Carl. So, Dan, when did you first start blowing glass? Was it early on in your artistic life or later on?
I actually started blowing glass later on in life. Um, we approximately 20 years ago, we moved to this area, and I went to Bucks Community College, that's renowned for its excellent art program. I started with stained glass, and then about 8 years later, I entered the glass blowing class. Um, so that was probably back in 2009 or 8, I started blowing glass with Carl.
Oh, wow. So that was after the glass program and studio moved into the 3D Arts building. Um,
Correct.
right.
Yeah,
That's great. And then, yeah, and then that's how you met Carl through the class.
that's right. Carl was the teacher when I started glass blowing, and just, I believe, newly retired this year or early sometime this year.
Right. Yeah, last spring was his official retirement date. So, um, and then, so in your studio at New Hope Stained Glass, had the great opportunity to witness you doing art class and demos, and you were working with Carl. So what's it like working in your studio? Um, do you work sometimes by yourself? And then when you were working with Carl, how is that dynamic in the studio?
Well, glass blowing is definitely a team sport. I actually blow glass 3 days a week with Jason Curtis, who also blew glass at Bucks Community. And so generally, when I blow with Jason, which I've been doing for close to 7 or 8 years, it's like a dance partner that you're very used to. Um, Recently, due to the fact that Carl is retired from Bucks, he's now coming over here and blowing glass with us 1 day a week, and that's it's great working with Carl as a partner now. He did help a lot when I was a student, but this is kind of extra fun because we're working as a team now as compared to teacher student. Um, Not that he can still teach me a lot, but which he does. But it's a lot of fun now working with him as a partner as well.
So it's not that doesn't feel like you're doing assignments, or did it feel that way in class in when you took classes, or was it more flexible with like, oh, this is what I want to make?
Carl always had a demo, and we had a assignment for each semester. But it after you did your assignment, it really was basically what kind of art you wanted to do yourself. Um, Actually, if I don't know if it's a funny antidote or a funny thing that Carl always said as we were blowing glass at Bucks. A lot of us intermediate students took the class multiple times. I took it at least 5 semesters or more. I'm not positive on the amount of semesters that I took. But one of the things Carl always said on us intermediate students, as we got more proficient and wanted to do more interesting I would say, challenging projects. And we would ask Carl, how can you do such and such? Carl would say, he would show us how to do it, but he would say, don't do this in our studio. If you want to do that, you build your own studio or go work. So I actually did. And so today, 3 years ago, we built our own studio, and I actually blame Carl to a certain extent. It's his fault that I went and spent all this money building my own studio. Um, so, of course, I'm thrilled that I have the ability, and I'm doing it, but it is Carl's fault.
That's great. Well, that's quite an undertaking. I mean, I guess he was in all seriousness, because he felt, he built the studio here at Bucks, so I think if I guess maybe he thought if he could do it, then his students could do it as well.
Yeah, I mean, and I think Carl has spurred on a lot of students to further their education in glass or other arts as well. Um, we're all very thankful that Carl has helped us further our skills and ability to do this. This is a second career for me, so I really went to Bucks Community as a hobby, and the hobby turned into a new business. With we do 50% stained glass and 50% blown glass, but the two mediums dovetailed together and enable us to actually make a living doing it. I would venture to say to most glass blowing students, it's an extremely hard way to make a living if that's all that you're going to do. It's a wonderful passion and hobby, but it ain't an easy way to make a living. I can tell you that.
Right, right. Yeah, I think that's true for many different artists that work in different medias. It takes that networking and community outreach and just getting to know people out there in the
Right,
community.
right.
Um, and from what I gather, your work is available and seen throughout Bucks County and then also uh, nationally or more.
Yeah, we're in I believe 8 or 9 different galleries or stores, mostly locally, but we are in Minneapolis, and we're in Woodstock, New York. We're in Kennett Square, Pennsylvania. We're in the Princeton Museum's Art Gallery shop. So we definitely are in nationally. We're on Etsy.com. So um, I spend probably 30% of my time marketing my work to different places, and that's another um, thing that I learned at Bucks, that you everybody, I can't say everybody, a lot of artists can make good art, but the hard part's selling your art.
Sure, yeah. And talking about your pieces, the ones that will be here shortly in the gallery, um, are you how are you choosing work to show in different spaces? Are they like pieces that you feel very passionate about that are your favorite works, or how do you choose to which works to put in?
I would say a little bit of both. I have a passion that Marini, the process of making Marini and using it in my work is my passion. But those are higher end pieces that are harder to sell. So when I sell at stores, I try to have a blend of different price points that will work for the store, and always try to have some of my Marini mixed in.
Right. And then when you talk about value in glass, do you think most people attribute it to the type, like the quality of glass that you're using, or is it more, I guess eventually it could be like who you are as well, that could increase the value.
Well, I guess the quality of the glass is very important, because if the better the quality of the glass, the better your design shows. Um, but I think that we're also we need to educate the public how hard it is to blow glass and how much goes into it. We do offer free demos here at our studio. Whenever we're blowing glass, we put a sign out on the street saying free demos today. So we're trying to educate the public that it's a fun medium, but it's not like you can go to Marshall's and buy handmade American blown glass. That's that's so we're trying to educate folks that this is the real process, and hopefully they'll enjoy it.
That's great. I know Carl told me that he was really inspired by the American studio or the American art glass studio movement. Would you say you were inspired by that movement too, or are you more, do you like more the Italian sort of historical design?
I agree with Carl. He was involved a little earlier than I was involved, so I have, I guess, a lot of the artists that I am inspired by they were inspired by the artists, the American glass arts movement. So it's like one step further along on the food on that. More like Lino Tagliapatri and Davide Salvadori, those, and David Patchen are more Dante Marioni. Those are kind of they were inspired, as was Carl, and now us newer artists are inspired by them, I guess.
Right. Yeah, it's like a generational of generations of different inspiration.
Right. I agree.
That's great. Well, Dan, I really appreciate you taking time to speak with me for the interviews for the Q&As for the exhibition, and I look forward to seeing your pieces here in the gallery.
Great. Well, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Okay. Bye-bye.